Yeah, I don't exist. Okay. I believe in the future of agriculture. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining. These words, which mean so much to me, were written in 1928 and have been recited by millions of FFA members since then. The 5 paragraphs of the FFA Creed, written by E.M. Tiffany, truly capture the heart of FFA and agricultural education, and for many years have given me a way to share my belief in the power of agricultural education. The first time I ever recited the Creed was about 6 years ago this February. I was a shy freshman in my first agricultural education class, and my FFA advisor had asked me to compete in our chapter's Creed speaking contest. The night of the contest, I proudly pulled on my first FFA jacket. While I had not earned my own yet, I was honored to wear my dad's old jacket, which we lovingly called Bob. Bob gave me a confidence that I had never experienced before. Bob empowered me and made me feel like I belonged and welcomed me into an organization that would change my life forever. While I did not go on to win the contest that night, I was invited to compete at the county contest where I was overjoyed to qualify for regionals. I think I placed 4th at the regional contest, not high enough to move on to the state competition. At the time, I was disappointed in myself, but what I had not realized was that the course of my life had taken a drastic turn, and it was too late to go back. I had found my place. By this point, I had earned my very own FFA jacket, and with the retiring of Bob came a new era for me. I was no longer that shy, lost freshman. I had gotten involved, made friends, and decided that agricultural education was where I belonged. Over the next 4 years, I wore this jacket. I traveled across the country to compete in career development competitions, attended leadership conferences, served as a chapter officer, raised and showed livestock, and so much more. Each of these experiences in my life brought more and more change. I became more confident, I set and achieved goals, I found a career that I was tremendously passionate about, and I became ready to move on to the next jacket in my life. Now this jacket is a very special one. The 4 years that I was involved in FFA in high school all led me to this. After graduating from high school, I went through an extensive interview process with 20 other students, and after 3 days of speeches, testing, and interviews, I was elected to serve as one of the 7 Pennsylvania FFA state officers for the 2014-2015 school year. The first time I ever put on my Pennsylvania FFA state officer jacket was one that I will never forget. My biggest goal, my wildest dream, I had done it. For the next year, I would serve the Pennsylvania FFA full-time, facilitating leadership workshops for high school students, speaking with elected officials and industry representatives on the importance of agricultural education, and delivering and preparing speeches for thousands at banquets, conferences, and more. My time in this jacket meant more to me than almost any of those other jackets, but without them, I would have never gotten here. While I could stand here all day sharing memories of my time as a state officer, I'll share just one story that means the most to me. In the spring of 2015, I received a letter from an FFA member that I had met in the fall. She was working on a project for her English class in which students were asked to write a letter to someone that they wanted to be like someday. Many of her peers wrote to celebrities or business leaders or just adults in general, but this student had written to me, someone who was just a few years older than her. In her letter, Bree explained that although she could never be a state officer because she had not met the qualifications, she wanted to be like me someday and inspire others the way I had inspired her. While this letter might not seem like a big deal, it meant more to me than almost any other interaction I had that year because it reminded me why I had done it all. I served as a state FFA officer and am pursuing a degree in agricultural and extension education to be that inspiration. I want to change the lives of my students the way my own FFA advisor changed my life. This interaction with Bree was one of many that made my time as a state officer so amazing, but all good things must come to an end, as did my time as a state officer. A few months later, I stood on the stage in Eisenhower Auditorium, taking off my FFA jacket for the last time. And as I did, I couldn't help but reflect. If you had told me 6 years before, when I had been wearing my dad's old jacket and was shaking in my shoes, I was so nervous, who I would be today, I probably would have laughed in disbelief. My time in agricultural education took me from a shy, self-conscious, clueless freshman to a driven, passionate, and confident future agricultural educator. Agricultural education prepares students for future careers. It instills strong morals and values, and it gives students a reason to be motivated and work towards something. Agricultural education caters to over 800,000 students nationwide today, but if you ask me, that's not nearly enough. I believe in the power and importance of agricultural education to change the lives of students and shape the future leaders of our nation. Thank you.